Hello and welcome to the studio. I'm Georgia Stock and I'm here with one of our 10th grade English teachers and our AP seminar teacher, Miss Shults. So how are you doing?
I'm
First
great.
off?
I'm
Good,
great.
good.
How are you?
I'm doing really good. I just had you last period.
That's
so
true.
doing
Yes.
some presentations in AP seminar. But that is not the reason why I wanted to come in here today. I wanted to get you away from the classroom and be able to talk to you about just everything that goes on with you. So my first question is, I know that you studied abroad in college. So what was that like and where did you go?
So I had always wanted to live somewhere else. I had mentioned to you before that I went to the University of Alabama, which was not that far away from where I grew up.
Yeah.
So I was excited to have an opportunity to live somewhere else. So I did a summer study abroad with the University of Alabama's Honors at Oxford program.
Wow.
And so it's where they take a cohort of students to Oxford University in England. And the classes I took were taught by Alabama professors, but we were in an Oxford dorm and Oxford classrooms. And so we would actually eat breakfast with our professors and then go to class and then have kind of the rest of the day to work. And we had flexibility to go on other trips if we wanted to. We had a lot of freedom. So I was there for about 6 weeks.
It's fun though. I bet that was so much fun getting to be in like a different culture and just get to, how was the food there?
The UK is not known for its food, but it was, we had some really great restaurants. I mean, I was a college student, so I was on a pretty tight budget, but the thing I loved the most was learning how to just go about my everyday daily activities in a different country. And so again, the UK, there's not quite as much culture shock there as there would be somewhere else, but figuring out like, okay, well now I have to walk to the grocery store to pick up what I'm gonna need, and where am I gonna go to get this textbook, or what park am I gonna go read in today? So just learning the daily ins and outs of life in a different country was really cool, and having the freedom to say, okay, this weekend I'm gonna take the train to London and just walk around. So that's what I was able to do.
I love that, especially the fact that you were able to have some free time to be able to go and actually explore it. I think that's really, really cool. So I know that when back to college, I know that you bounced around from different majors. So what really stuck out in English to you? Like why did you choose to want to become a teacher?
I loved having the conversations that talking about literature and books allowed me to have. So talking about the big ideas of what it means to be a person, how our stories are represented in literature and even in films and things like that. So I loved having those conversations, and I didn't want to stop, so I decided to take on a job that would allow me to do that.
I love that, and I know right now in Honors 10, that y'all are reading Lord of the Flies. So out of all of the assigned books that you are, is it a requirement for different books like the Lord of the Flies?
No, our requirements are not around specific texts as much. They're what can a student do with a text. We just choose, there are texts that have been commonly taught, and then we're sort of in a transition phase of thinking about how can we start to teach these skills through new texts.
And so when you are teaching Lord of the Flies, I know that especially like you have to go back and read that book probably a million times because you read it. Is there, whenever you are like reading these same books that you've been reading, teaching it to your kids, do you ever learn anything from those books that you have to reread?
Absolutely. So I always show my kids the my annotated copy of Lord of the Flies that has my annotations in it. And every year I read it, I use a different color pen when I'm reading and annotating. So that way my annotations aren't grouped by topic, but they're grouped by year I've read it. So you can see, well, this year, here are the things that I noticed, and then the next year it switches to pink, and then green, and then purple, or whatever.
I love that. I love the color coordination and the organization. I love that. But so being a teacher and you're surrounded by students on an everyday basis, what do you learn from your students? Like, do you learn any morals and life lessons from them?
I learn a lot about how to bring humor to everyday situations.
That is right. I can concur with that statement.
I learn really that everybody's doing the best they can.
Yeah.
And that kind of includes myself. I can be really hard on myself sometimes. And I think when I am in a place where I'm reminding a student that they're doing the best that they can, I have to apply that own advice to myself.
Especially with grading too. So I wanted to ask you about that. So I know, going back to you being an Honors 10 teacher, Honors 10 English teacher, and being an AP Seminar teacher, how are you able to kind of have a, I don't really know, kind of have like a separation between grading? Like, how are you able to grade Honors 10, and then how are you able to grade AP Seminar with all in a week span?
Well, the two courses build on each other, and I try to design assignments that are very intentionally focusing on specific skills. So that's something I've had to learn over the years of being a teacher, is grading for quality and not necessarily quantity.
Yeah.
So can I grade a skill in a shorter piece of writing versus a longer piece of writing? And that also means budgeting my time and not looking for every single thing about a piece of writing, maybe saying, okay, for this piece of writing, I need to look at, have they done this correctly?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's especially with time, and I know that you being a mother and a wife as well. So tell me what that is like. Sorry, my bad.
It's okay.
About being a teacher as well as being a mother of you have a 2-year-old, correct?
I have a 2-year-old, yeah.
Oh, that's such a sweet age. I love that age. So what's it like being able to balance your time between school and home?
I had to make the decision a couple years ago about that I just wasn't, unless it was a dire circumstance, wasn't going to take work home.
Yeah.
So that I could be fully present when I'm at home, and I'm not trying to straddle two different things. So that means when I'm at work, I am fully present, utilizing my time as efficiently as possible, and when I'm at home, I'm focused on my family, especially having a 2-year-old. I told you earlier, he is starting to talk, and that's just the craziest experience to see a human being go from no words to lots of words.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to miss any of that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So I have a question actually about Michael. So when did he start walking? Has he even started walking yet?
Yes, so he started walking when he was just over a year old.
Good. I love that. That's so sweet. But so another question that I had for you was, okay, so sorry. Another question that I had for you was, how are you able to go from it's kind of relating back to my next question, but would you more focus your time on, if you had to pick, would you more focus your time on Honors English or on AP Seminar?
I think that's a really tough question to answer because I think they build on one another.
Yeah, for sure.
I really like AP Seminar because I like seeing what the students get to decide to research. So since that is not a class where I am giving students content to study, they pick the content and I show them how to apply college level research skills. I like that. Going back to what you were saying about the grading is more intense in AP Seminar.
For sure.
But they both have their merits.
Yeah, they both have their ways. But one more question I have for you is, so if I know that you love to read. I love your book wall, and I love how you have, there's like a little sign on top of one of your bookshelves that says Page Turners Welcome. I love that. So whenever your 2-year-old son be able to adapt to big words, do you want him to become like a big reader so you and him can have cute little book talks, like mommy and me, like book time?
Absolutely. I don't want to admit how many books I've bought for him. They're for me. They're my books, but they're for him.
But they're for him.
Yeah.
But secretly, you've read them.
Yes. Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming in, and I'm
Of
so glad that
course.
I was able to sit down and talk to you and take some of your time away from you. So thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right, as for Oak Mountain Media, I'm Georgia Stock. If you would like to check out more of our interviews and content, please check out our Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, all at OakMTN Media. And if you would like to check out our website, it is at oakmtnmedia.com. Thank you so much.